Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2 Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. Lord of Yuan Shou Mansion watched from a distance, only able to see a huge dark world, unable to discern what was happening inside. Pu. Suddenly, a sword light pierced through the membrane of the dark world and instantly escaped. Lord of Yuan Shou Mansion, somewhat surprised, said, just after the confrontation, has Great Saint Baiyun already fled? In the transcendence of the primal chaos realm in the Land of Origin, even in one-on-one situations, very few could force Great Saint Baiyun to flee, let alone with the assistance of Great Saint Yangsu and City Lord Huang Feng. She escaped. Great Saint Baiyun, having escaped to a far distance, finally breathed a sigh of relief and cast a glance at Lord of Yuan Shou Mansion. Great Saint Baiyun, Lord of Yuan Shou Mansion said politely, acknowledging that both in individual strength and background, Baiyun was superior to him. Brother Yuan Shou, you are indeed wise, Baiyun said, had you mixed in, this true body of yours might have been lost. Lord of Yuan Shou Mansion, astonished, asked, Great Saint Baiyun, what exactly happened inside the dark world? What about Great Saint Yangsu and City Lord Huang Feng? Baiyun shook her head and finally said, the blood spirit golden pearl has nothing to do with us anymore. With that, she had already faded into the distant cosmos. Lord of Yuan Shou Mansion was secretly shocked. From Baiyun's reaction, he could infer some information. It seems it was a one-sided sweep. 3 against 1, yet they were thoroughly defeated. Knowing the likely outcome, Lord of Yuan Shou Mansion didn't wait any longer. The mission for the Blood Spirit Golden Pearl, as far as we are concerned, is already over. He also left quietly. In the vast dark world, only Luo Feng and City Lord Huang Feng remained. The Thunder Ancient Country and the Flame Wind Ancient Country are on equal footing, while the entirety of the Thunder Ancient Country's imperial clan primarily cultivates the primordial bloodline, Luo Feng observed, looking at the massively built City Lord Huang Feng. The imperial clan of Flame Wind Ancient Country also cultivates the primordial bloodline. However, for Flame Wind Ancient Country, the entry barrier is much higher. Normally, one must become a godly king and pass through numerous screenings before beginning the path of the primordial bloodline. Based on the intelligence Luo Feng had, several of the 13 emperors of Flame Wind Ancient Country practiced the primordial bloodline, showing the attractiveness of this faction. City Lord Huang Feng, however, barely entered the entry-level of the weakest tier in the primordial bloodline system. As for Marquis Chu Yuan, who Luo Feng had once beaten into a liquid, he wasn't even considered to have entered the system. Looking at City Lord Huang Feng, a thought arose in Luo Feng, and 30,000 black rivers transformed into numerous black blade lights, all performing the Blade River slash. Rumbling. The endless black blade lights destroyed everything in their path, even causing numerous fine cracks in the braided cage world membrane. With such terrifying might, City Lord Huang Feng bore it entirely, unable to dodge even a bit. Hiss 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 tilde 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 numerous wounds appeared on City Lord Huang Feng's body, as if he had been slashed by thousands of knives, his body covered in greenish blood. But as soon as the might of the blade lights passed, the numerous wounds on City Lord Huang Feng's body naturally healed. Well, it did break the skin and caused bleeding, laughed City Lord Huang Feng. Luo He, I admit your power is impressive, but unfortunately, I didn't lose even a drop of divine power. Luo Feng also noticed this. Physical cultivation at the level of City Lord Huang Feng meant that mere superficial skin wounds were not a real loss. Complete annihilation of some flesh was needed for any divine power reserve to be depleted. I advise you not to waste your effort. City Lord Huang Feng was very confident, although he was being swept away by the endless black rivers, making it hard to resist, continuously drawing closer to Luo Feng. I want to try. Luo Feng looked at City Lord Huang Feng. The 30,000 blade lights performing Blade River slash from a distance contained many mysteries, deadly sharp, even opening fine cracks on the braided cage membrane. But Luo Feng in close combat could mobilize nearly 100 billion black rivers, an unadulterated force. Merge. With a thought, Luo Feng drew back all the sprawling black rivers into his body, even withdrawing most of those merged into the dark world, maintaining only 10 billion black rivers in the dark world. The dark world, the more black rivers it merged, the stronger it became. 10 billion black rivers was already enough to seal most who transcended the primal chaos realm. City Lord Huang Feng saw the surrounding black rivers quickly converging towards Luo Feng, and he too was swept up, rapidly approaching. Suddenly, the rapidly enlarging Luo Feng stretched out a hand and grabbed at the approaching neck of City Lord Huang Feng. At this moment, Luo Feng possessed the power of nearly 90 billion black rivers. Open! City Lord Huang Feng struggled, even swinging his arms, but Luo Feng's arm remained unshakable, firmly grasping City Lord Huang Feng's neck. Crush! Luo Feng's left hand grabbed City Lord Huang Feng's neck, while his right hand's 5 fingers plunged directly into City Lord Huang Feng's body. Pu! Luo Feng felt City Lord Huang Feng's body was extremely tough, much of his force naturally dissipated by the skin, but eventually, Luo Feng's fingers still forcibly penetrated its flesh. The flesh layer offered even more resistance, as if numerous ropes entangled opposing Luo Feng, with even a bone armor layer deeper inside, densely packed. Luo Feng's 5 fingers seemed to be piercing through weapon secret treasures, forcibly breaching some of the bone armor, and finally stopping. Luo Feng's arm pierced deep into City Lord Huang Feng's body, unable to push any further. "It's too tough," Luo Feng exclaimed. He. City Lord Huang Feng was astounded, being penetrated nearly halfway through his body by a bare hand. He was a strong physical entity with an entry-level primordial bloodline. Pu. Boom. Rip. Luo Feng, one hand gripping City Lord Huang Feng's neck, the other, whether it was a hand blade, claw, or fist, unleashed the full force of nearly 90 billion black rivers, continuously tearing through City Lord Huang Feng's body. Luo He, how did you cultivate your physical body? I can be sure you haven't cultivated the primordial bloodline, yet how is your physical body stronger than mine? The City Lord of Desert Wind City asked while getting beaten, still managing to inquire. Don't waste your effort. It seems I get injured again and again, but actually, I haven't spent a drop of divine power, said the City Lord of Desert Wind City as he was getting hit. I can't fight you, but the vitality of the primordial bloodline is beyond your imagination. Luo Feng stopped, nodded, and said, your physical body is indeed very resilient. As he spoke, a giant blood shadow knife suddenly appeared in Luo Feng's right hand out of thin air. A knife. The City Lord of Desert Wind still didn't care. Slash. Luo Feng, holding the City Lord of Desert Wind by the throat in his left hand, casually tossed him aside, while at the same time, his right hand had already swung the knife. At that moment, nearly 9 billion strands of Black River power condensed into one, channeling through the heavy and incredibly sharp blood shadow knife, cleaving forcefully into the waist of the City Lord of Desert Wind. Thick skin, a layer of tough flesh, bone armor. This blood shadow knife, which had been thoroughly transformed by the hands of Teacher Emperor Chu, had the potential to point directly to the ultimate realm of Godly King. Luo Feng's strength concentrated on the knife's edge was clearly far more terrifying than fighting barehanded. Phut, the City Lord of Desert Wind's waist was completely severed, his body split in two. It's useless, you cannot do anything to what? The City Lord of Desert Wind's eyes widened. At that moment, black rivers flowed out from Luo Feng's body surface, churning and immediately enveloping the City Lord of Desert Wind's 2 severed halves. After being split in two, the strength that erupted from each half was on the decline. Slash. 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 Luo Feng swung the blood shadow knife continuously, cleaving at the halves of the City Lord of Desert Wind's body, turning them into dozens of pieces of flesh in the blink of an eye, each piece condensing into a lump of meat. Dozens of meat lumps, still resilient and filled with endless life force. Don't say turning into meat lumps, even if into minced meat, into tiny particles. I still will not die, ha ha ha. Voices emanated from the dozens of meat lumps despite them being overwhelmed by divine power. The dozens of large meat lumps were still struggling, but they were all ensnared by the Black River. Even cut up like this, it feels like his strength hasn't diminished much. Luo Feng observed those lumps of flesh. After splitting into dozens of pieces, each piece's power to resist had greatly diminished, feeling no more than the resistance of one at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm. To have shattered my complete body, I admire you, but you cannot kill me. Even if you were several times stronger, it would still be impossible to kill me, the voice of the city lord of Desert Wind echoed around. Primordial bloodline, its vitality is indeed strong, Luo Feng nodded with a word of praise. Luo He, you cannot always be suppressing me, right? Constantly diverting your attention to suppress me influences your cultivation, said the city lord of Desert Wind. Cultivation requires undivided attention and enough focus. And to suppress the city lord of Desert Wind with the Black River indeed occupies a portion of heart force, affecting cultivation as well. So, you might as well let me go, the city lord of Desert Wind persuaded. This time I have offended you. If you let me go, I will give you 10 billion cosmic sand as an apology. How about that? Let you go? Luo Feng laughed. This true body of yours is quite a treasure. Even if the city lord of Desert Wind were to actively annihilate this body, the treasures carried by the true body were very valuable. And Luo Feng was well aware that the primordial bloodline's true body was very important. Actively annihilating it, wanting to cultivate it back again? It would be very troublesome, with a great cost. You want to keep suppressing me? The city lord of Desert Wind started to struggle, dozens of pieces of flesh struggling, their might quite terrifying. Luo Feng immediately suppressed them with the Black River. You want to always divide your attention to suppress me, how will you cultivate? Collect. Luo Feng wrapped up several fleshy masses with the Black River and sent them all into the Star Tower. In one of the spatial layers of the Star Tower, this layer was naturally divided into thousands of smaller spaces. Luo Feng threw dozens of fleshy masses into these smaller spaces. Suppress. The Star Tower had the ability to oppress and seal. Achem. Dozens of fleshy masses were thrown in, and they twisted into the forms of the various Desert Wind City Lords. The numerous Desert Wind City Lords looked around in shock. They could even see each other in the different small spaces from a great distance but couldn't come any closer. Let me out, the numerous Desert Wind City Lords attacked the small spaces in a frenzy, but obviously, they could not shake them in the slightest. The stability of the Star Tower, such that even Luo Feng, giving all his effort, couldn't disturb it, was beyond what Luo Feng thought any godly king-level palace secret treasure was capable of. Now that the Desert Wind City Lords had been split, their resistance was merely at the pinnacle of primal chaos level and couldn't resist at all. Let me out, the Desert Wind City Lords shouted desperately in anger, but within the sealed space, their voices could not even spread. Is it a godly king-level palace secret treasure? He actually has a godly king-level palace secret treasure? Desert Wind City Lord couldn't believe it. Even the great Saint Baiyun only had one godly king-level weapon, the heaven-cutting sword. This godly king-level palace secret treasure, even the simplest one from the first realm of godly king, is worth much more. I'm suppressed within a godly king-level palace secret treasure, he doesn't need to pay much attention to me. Am I just going to be suppressed like this? Desert Wind City Lord realized the gravity of the situation. He originally thought that Luo He, in order to cultivate, couldn't be distracted to suppress him for long and would eventually let him go. Abandon this physical body? Desert Wind City Lord was very clear about how much he had invested to cultivate this primordial bloodline physical body. He didn't even have a single godly king-level weapon. Almost all his resources had been spent on this body. Luo He, you tell me, what conditions are needed to let me go? Desert Wind City Lord gave in. As long as I can do it, I will. How many treasures can you bring out? Luo Feng's voice finally rang out. I'll try to gather them. I can assemble 800 billion cosmic sand, Desert Wind City Lord said. 800 billion cosmic sand? Luo Feng couldn't help but say, you, a transcendence of primal chaos realm, can only get 800 billion cosmic sand? That was too poor. He was ready to offer hundreds of billions of cosmic sand just for the bounty on perfect primal chaos layer creature materials. Desert Wind City Lord felt aggrieved. Not long ago, he sold 12 blood spirit golden pearls to the Two Realms Palace, earning 360 billion cosmic sand. If not for this income, he couldn't even come up with 800 billion cosmic sand. The cultivation of primordial bloodline consumes a lot of resources, Desert Wind City Lord said. 800 billion cosmic sand, I've already given my all. Then you can't get out, Luo Feng said, jokingly. 800 billion cosmic sand could only buy an ordinary weapon from the first realm of Godly King, to exchange for Desert Wind City Lord's physical body. Desert Wind City Lord fell silent. He still had one method left. As a member of the Thunder Ancient Country Imperial clan, he could ask his clan to redeem him. But in that case, whatever the clan paid, he would have to repay in the future. Luo Feng stood beside Blood Spirit Star, sensing the Desert Wind City Lord imprisoned within the Star Tower in his body. A primordial bloodline physical body, how could I release it without enough benefits? Luo Feng looked up at the Blood Spirit Star. The flames of Blood Spirit Star erupted as another 9 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls flew out, wrapped up by the domain of the Dark World and delivered into Luo Feng's hands. Luo Feng looked at the 9 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls floating above his palm. This Blood Spirit Golden Pearl mission, I'm without competition now. Brother Chu Yu, I've lived up to you, Luo Feng smiled. Flame Wind Ancient Country, Chu Capital. Luo Feng also had an avatar residing in Chu Capital, carrying 100 million black rivers and a portion of his divine power reserve. This avatar was weaker than his true body but still stronger than Great Saint Bai Yun and the City Lord of Desert Wind City. Brother Luo He, I heard that you single-handedly swept through Great Saint Bai Yun, Lord of Yuanxiu Mansion, the City Lord of Desert Wind City, and Great Saint Yang Su and monopolized the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls. A message arrived. Can you sell me the complete video information of your victory over these 4 to the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall? Luo Feng was somewhat surprised. Buying information about oneself? That had never happened before. The entire process of the battle that had just occurred was known only to him, and next most knowledgeable was the City Lord of Desert Wind City. And since the City Lord was from the Thunder Ancient Country's Imperial clan, the Flame Wind Pavilion likely did not want to contact him. As the victor of this battle, I believe Brother Luo his information would be the most comprehensive. The Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall communicated, we are willing to pay 100 billion cosmic sand for the complete video footage of the battle. 200 billion cosmic sand, Luo Feng responded. Brother Luo He, not many in the land of origin can afford your detailed information, only the godly kings and a very few from the primal chaos realm. Among them, only a few will buy, and they might even share information with each other, the Flame Wind Pavilion replied. One strong figure might purchase, then share with a few friends. The Flame Wind Pavilion had no way to stop this. Chu thought. Then 150 billion cosmic sand, Luo Feng stepped back, no less. Alright, then the Flame Wind Pavilion would like to befriend the great Saint Luo He. The Dark Hall of the Flame Wind Pavilion was quite polite. Luo Feng did not know who was contacting him, since this was an official message from the Dark Hall, but daring to say the Flame Wind Pavilion wants to befriend great Saint Luo He, it must be someone high up in the Flame Wind Pavilion. This 150 billion cosmic sand, is it credited to your name, Luo He? Yes, this is the complete video of the previous battle. Luo Feng did not conceal it. If the Flame Wind Pavilion truly wanted to investigate, both Yang Su and Great Saint Bai Yun had parts of the battle video, and the impoverished City Lord of Desert Wind even had the complete footage, so it was better to let oneself earn this money. In fact, the Flame Wind Pavilion could also use space-time methods to trace the clues, but that would be too costly. Better to spend some cosmic sand to buy directly from the victor, which was cheaper. Finally made up for some blood loss. After Luo Feng mastered the Triunity Body Refining secret technique, the task he had posted at the Flame Wind Pavilion seeking perfect primal chaos layer creature materials had ended, but the expenses were still quite large. Within a phantom realm. What a Luo He, a misty figure formed, quite annoyed, I managed through the City Lord of Desert Wind and Yang Su, to gather 20 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls last time and gave them to Marquis Chu Chang. Great Saint Bai Yun obtained 25 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls, only slightly more than Marquis Chu Chang. His plan was to assist Marquis Chu Chang to secure the second place. The Blood Spirit Golden Pearl task, by his estimation, would see Marquis Chu Ying and Marquis Chu Chang far ahead, while the other 5 first-class marquises would lag far behind. Now, the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls have been monopolized by Luo He. If it weren't for him being a disciple of Emperor Chu, a transcendent from the primal chaos realm daring to be presumptuous with me, MPH, I would make him realize the price of disrespect. The misty figure, as a member within the Two Realms Palace, had been too high and mighty in the land of origin. Luo Feng's disrespect had already ignited his anger. But Luo Feng's master was Emperor Chu. He could only stay calm. The latest complete information on Luo He, the misty figure immediately bought it upon thinking. The complete information's purchase price was 100 million cosmic sand, which he did not care about. Although he thought highly of himself, the complete information from the Flame Wind Pavilion was still extremely valuable. This complete information included a recent battle where Lord Yuan Xiu withdrew first, all of Yang Su's avatars were annihilated, Great Saint Baiyun pierced through the membrane wall of the Dark World to escape, the City Lord of Desert Wind was brutally battered by Luo his bare hands, and Luo Feng slashed him into dozens of pieces with the Bloodshadow knife and collected them. Luo He, a direct disciple of Emperor Chu. He cultivates the origin great Tao of life, destruction, and matter, combining the three to create his own body refining method, reaching the level of a cosmic body. His Black River world, even Great Saint Yang Su cannot break through. His surging Black River domain, even the City Lord of Desert Wind can only drift along helplessly, unable to control anything. World, domain, long-range attacks, close combat, physical body, the integration of the three origin great Taos, makes him flawless in every aspect, undoubtedly the first among those who have transcended the primal chaos realm. Important note, first, his physical body carries extremely strong life spirituality, with every bit of flesh and blood able to transform into an independent avatar. His number of avatars is innumerable. Second, to control a body far surpassing the primordial bloodline flesh body in the primal chaos realm, he must possess a heart force far surpassing his peers, his spiritual will, at least at the second realm of Godly King. The more terrifying the physical body, the higher the required spiritual will to control it. Luo Feng's perfect divine body, bringing powerful soul, second realm Godly King spiritual will combined with the Lai Yuan technique, just controlling 100 billion black rivers consumes more than half of his heart force already. Flame Wind Pavilion, not expecting the perfect divine body, determined that Luo Feng's spiritual will was at least at the second realm of Godly King, was already very accurate. Third, his strength attained the first amongst those who have transcended the primal chaos realm without reliance on primordial force, primordial materials, or primordial bloodline, but by creating his own body-refining secret technique, with a talent so high, it's unimaginable. It can be inferred that, in the not-so-distant future, he will become a Godly King. Once he reaches the Godly King level, his strength will increase comprehensively. And his master, Emperor Chu, is quite protective, definitely will cultivate Luo He with all his might. The misty figure reviewed this detailed information, containing segments of video and a lot of conjectural information. Primal Chaos Realm, at least second realm of Godly King spiritual will, the misty figure muttered, no wonder he could withstand the Two Realms Palace's induction. This Luo He is not easy to deal with, the misty figure said, understanding this fact as he looked at the intelligence report. Other transcendents of Primal Chaos Realm relied on external objects to cultivate, and their realm accumulation was not profound, making it difficult to become a Godly King. But Luo Feng, who created his own body-refining method to transcend in Primal Chaos Realm, had a much deeper accumulation and a much greater chance of becoming a Godly King. Years are long, and there will be plenty of opportunities in the future, the misty figure thought. Once a major turmoil arises, even the Emperor of Flame Wind Ancient Country and the Monarch of Thunder Ancient Country will be driven to madness. At that time, amid the whirlpool, a slight push will be enough to cast Luo He into the endless abyss. This little fellow has no idea how tumultuous the undercurrents at the Godly King tier can be, the misty figure snickered. Even now, Luo Feng had no idea who this powerful figure from the Two Realms Palace actually was. That was the terrifying part of the Two Realms Palace. They stirred up storms, yet their identities remained a mystery. Chu Capital, Marquis Chu Yu Mansion. Brother Luo He, you swept away the other four and took exclusive control of the Blood Spirit Star? Marquis Chu Yu naturally got the news from a friend first, and it baffled him. Exclusive control of Blood Spirit Star? Didn't that mean he was already first in one of the three subtasks of the heavenly task, and in a clear lead at that. What exactly is going on? Marquis Chu Yu immediately sought to find out, and soon purchased the latest complete intelligence report on Luo Feng. This complete intelligence report astounded Marquis Chu Yu. Avatars, too numerous to count. At least a godly king's second realm spiritual will. Creatively self-formulated body refining method, talent unbelievably high. Marquis Chu Yu, himself a transcendent of primal chaos realm with unlimited godly bodies and quite high talent, understood very well the implications hidden within this intelligence. It meant number one among the transcendents of the primal chaos realm, and without relying on external items. To think that I chose such an incredible guest elder in Huyang City, Marquis Chu Yu could hardly believe it himself, recalling that Luo he was only an eternal true god when they had first met. Marquis Chu Yu soon calmed down. Does brother Luo he know how much of his information has been leaked? Marquis Chu Yu, not daring to hesitate, immediately sent this report to Luo Feng. Haha, don't worry, some of the information was sold to the Flame Wind Pavilion by me, Luo Feng responded. Luo Feng, upon seeing this detailed intelligence, was also astounded. Avatars. Spiritual will. Quite a comprehensive deduction. They think highly of me. I actually haven't studied the origin Tao of matter, Luo Feng thought. The intelligence was already quite comprehensive, recording almost all of his methods. Of course, some methods, such as his application of the spiritual will using the Lai Yuan technique, and some capabilities of the Star Tower and perfect divine body, were things the Flame Wind Pavilion could not have anticipated. Just as this intelligence says, I should increase my accumulation and try to become a godly king as quickly as possible, Luo Feng was clear. Realm is fundamental. Secret techniques are just branches. The higher the realm, the more powerful one's various methods can become. Palace of Emperor Chu. Ha ha ha, the Flame Wind Pavilion got it right with this report. Emperor Chu looked at the report, bursting with joy and delight. The level of my disciple Luo Feng's talent is beyond imagination, achieving transcendence of primal chaos realm as number one with his own created secret technique. He's far stronger than other transcendents of the primal chaos realm. What's the use of external aid? Like Marquis Chu Yuan, the strongest among the 7 first-class marquises, also has hopes of transcending in the primal chaos realm. But that's with the aid of a primordial bloodline, and his self-comprehension of the great Tao is much weaker. Previously, among a group of inadequate candidates, Emperor Chu was willing to nurture Marquis Chu Yuan. After all, in Emperor Chu's lineage, there were only 2 transcendents of primal chaos realm before Luo Feng arrived. But now, with Luo Feng here, Emperor Chu felt that the others were just too ordinary. Having such a talented disciple truly feels comforting. This is what high talent means, achieving transcendence of primal chaos realm as number one in such a short time. I believe it won't be long before he becomes a godly king, Emperor Chu thought. I also need to think of ways to arrange some important resources for my disciple. The resources needed by godly kings are most importantly not those granted by the primogenitors of flame, wind or thunder but those left by Yuan. Yuan harbored goodwill towards the godly kings of the land of origin, leaving behind many resources for them to compete over, with the capable naturally obtaining more. Like the Lai Yuan technique, for example. Yuan knew it was difficult to master, so he left many copies behind, and it was in the primordial cosmos that Luo Feng mastered it. Once he did, all other carriers of the Lai Yuan technique vanished. And there are still plenty of similar resources. Whether inheritance, weapons and treasures, or opportunities. Those ancient beings would also spare no expense for these. No hurry, plan slowly, Emperor Chu thought. Shi Kingdom, Liu Yin Primal Chaos State. The latest complete intelligence on Luo He? In the quiet room where he was in seclusion, Marquis Liu Yin was already examining this intelligence report. He had a long-term subscription to information on Luo He, receiving any new intelligence at the first instance. However, as Luo Feng's strength grew increasingly formidable, the price for the information also became increasingly exorbitant. The first to transcend the primal chaos realm in the entire land of origin, and he even created his own body refining method. In the not-so-distant future, will he become a godly king? Moreover, avatars, too numerous to count. This information, one piece after another, made Marquis Liu Yin's expression grow even uglier. He felt the crisis of death already looming over him. He can easily create avatars, and Huyang City is his city. There must be avatars sitting in power. Marquis Liu Yin looked up. Considering the fact that they were neighbors, the distance between them was too close. If this intelligence is correct, without any external help, he could become number one in transcending the primal chaos realm. With such talent, he could become a godly king at any time. Once he becomes a godly king, his strength will improve across the board. Perhaps he will be able to completely kill me. Marquis Liu Yin's heart trembled. As a pinnacle of primal chaos realm being, his survival abilities were very strong, yet Luo Feng's current strength was terrifying, and after becoming a godly king, just how formidable would he become? Life, destruction, matter, cultivating three great Taos of origin simultaneously, who knows what terrifying moves he will comprehend once he becomes a godly king. If in an instant all my revival vessels are destroyed, it would mean complete death. Marquis Liu Yin thought. To completely exterminate a being from the primal chaos realm, even preventing them from using the reincarnation secret art in time, was a very difficult task. But considering the terror of Luo He, Marquis Liu Yin did not dare to take any risks. This Luo He detests evil as his enemy. Based on my understanding of his temperament, he is ignoring me right now only because he's not confident he can kill me completely. Once he is sure, he will likely make his move silently. Marquis Liu Yin's eyes were cold. Enough, enough. Let go of everything at hand. After going through the intelligence report, Marquis Liu Yin made a decision after some contemplation. Only through reincarnation can I completely sever the karmic entanglement with Luo He. I can't provoke him, I can only avoid him. Marquis Liu Yin thought to himself. Reincarnation under the operation of the highest rules would render the reincarnated soul impossible to find by anyone. I must act quickly. If I'm too slow, who knows when he will become a godly king. Marquis Liu Yin was also very decisive. Clans. Territories. In his heart, none of these were as important as his own self, and he decided to abandon everything in just moments. That very day, Marquis Liu Yin ended his seclusion and began making some arrangements. Once everything was properly arranged, the time for his reincarnation would come. Snow Realm territory, where countless snowflakes fell all year round. The snowflakes touched the ground and turned into streams, gradually merging into countless rivers. These countless rivers surged, and their main bodies, branches, dense as blood vessels, spread throughout the entire snow realm. These countless snowflakes, these numerous rivers that covered the snow realm, were the true body of the ancestral god of the snow realm. This was a mighty being who had cultivated the great Tao of life origin to an unimaginable extent. A figure formed from the gathering of high-floating snowflakes, smiling as it gazed in the direction of the flame-wind ancient country. The last time I heard the name Luo He, it was because he killed my disciple and became enemies with Marquis Liu Yin. He even went to the flame-wind ancient country with Emperor Chu Yu. Who would have thought that in the blink of an eye, he would have already become the first to transcend the primal chaos realm? The ancestral god of the snow realm, whose sins ranked in the top 10 in the land of origin, had an air of transcendence yet seemed incomparably pure. He had mastered all 6 branches of the great Tao of life origin and also used the blood-dripping scripture to oversee these 6 branches, perfecting his cultivation to the extreme of the first realm of godly king, reaching the realm of as blood marks the boundary. The great Tao of life origin provides the greatest survival ability. I have cultivated the blood-dripping scripture to the ultimate extreme of the first realm of godly king, and when it comes to survival, many at the second realm of godly king are not my match. However, my offensive capabilities are too weak. The ancestral god of the snow realm slightly shook his head. In a direct confrontation, I reckon I would be only about equal to Luo He. Given his reputation, his direct strength indeed seemed somewhat lacking. Techniques like the extermination of 72 blades, even without leveraging any external objects, can fight beyond their level once reaching the peak of the first realm. This is the difference in cultivation paths. The path of destruction, with all 6 branches designed for slaughter, naturally has extreme strength in killing. But the path of life origin, even though it also has methods for extinguishing life forces, is much weaker in combat compared to other paths. Destruction, matter, time, space, infinity. Which one of these paths isn't stronger in direct combat than life? I cultivate life, and to comprehend higher levels of the primordial bloodline is also suitable for me. It's just that once I begin cultivation, the will remnants within the primordial bloodline will contaminate me. The ancestral god of the snow realm was well aware of the flaws of this path. Once the primordial bloodline merges with the body, it does more than transform the body, it also twists the soul and contaminates the spiritual will. The inherent will within the primordial bloodline constantly corrupts the practitioner's own will. The flaw of this path is more severe the further one goes. It is said that above the ultimate realm of God-King, there are numerous drawbacks to the primordial bloodline. But no matter how great the flaws, they cannot hide one fact: these bloodlines come from primordial life outside the braided cage. That is a higher level of life. In order to cultivate the blood-dripping scripture, I've amassed countless sins and formed many karmic ties. I can sense. I must become stronger, else my life will come to a complete end. The ancestral god of the snow realm thought. Phew. Instantly, the figure dissipated and delved back into cultivating the primordial bloodline. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The rise of Luo He, the creation of his own body refining method, and the possession of the strength to stand as the first in transcending the primal chaos realm. This news spread among the true powerhouses of the land of origin. Within the Thunder Ancient Country, there was a holy land known as Mt. Leitaying. Mount Leitaying. The mountain-sitting guest had also arrived here. From a distance, Mount Leitaying appeared as a towering high mountain, but upon ascending, one would find it incredibly vast and extensive, with separate spacetimes existing atop it. All 9 monarchs of the Thunder Ancient Country had their true bodies or avatars frequently residing here, along with other godly kings and elite members of the imperial clan. My disciple is much stronger than I was, mountain-sitting guest felt quite pleased. Transcendence of the primal chaos realm number 1? At my pinnacle, I was about as strong as Luo Feng is now. Back when he was God King Jin, he cultivated his godly body as one would a secret treasure weapon, reaching the cosmic body realm. His physical body was extremely terrifying, not inferior to Luo Feng's today. Even when fleeing, his physical body acted like a fleeing-class secret treasure, possessing many abilities to escape. When the 3 city lords of Sha Kingdom made thorough preparations and suddenly struck, the mountain-sitting guest still managed to escape. But during that sudden attack, his wife, fellow sect members, and his tribal clan were all annihilated. Under his endless hatred, he chose to go to the universe ocean, seeking an opportunity for revenge. My wife, my fellow sect members, my brothers in life and death, my tribal clan. Mountain-sitting guest harbored endless resentment, which, after ages of brewing, had deeply infused into his soul. For revenge, he was willing to pay any price. You need to be patient, wait for Luo Feng to grow. Mountain-sitting guest even avoided seeking out Luo Feng, not wanting to put any pressure on him and just wishing for Luo Feng to grow steadily and securely. As mountain-sitting guest pondered this, he walked along and suddenly noticed a figure ahead. Immediately he saluted, Desert Wind City Lord. The divine power incarnation of Desert Wind City Lord simply responded impatiently and went far away. Mountain-sitting guest did not mind at all because he knew that the true body of Desert Wind City Lord was currently imprisoned by his own disciple, Luo Feng. A moment later, mountain-sitting guest arrived at an ancient hall where he patiently waited in the spacious hall. After a long time, a figure bathed in flames appeared on the throne of the hall. Zhuoshanjin, you wish to cultivate the primordial bloodline. The flaming figure looked down at mountain-sitting guest. Yes, God of Fire King, mountain-sitting guest replied respectfully. Guest official of primal chaos realm, you want to cultivate the primordial bloodline? You either gather enough merit points or fully join the Thunder Ancient Country. The flaming figure looked at mountain-sitting guest. Your merit points are insufficient. Mountain-sitting guest said, I am willing to fully join the Thunder Ancient Country. Guest elders are quite free, it is normal for them to leave an ancient country. But once fully joined, they are tied to the war chariot of Thunder Ancient Country. Good, the flaming figure nodded. Fully joining the Thunder Ancient Country only grants you the qualifications to cultivate the primordial bloodline. Truly mastering it. There are still many obstacles. Even among the Imperial clansmen, few who enter the primordial bloodline succeed in transcending the primal chaos realm. I understand, mountain-sitting guest responded. To cultivate the primordial bloodline, the stronger your spiritual will, the better, and the deeper your understanding and accumulation of the Tao, the better. If you are completely corrupted by the residual will of the primordial bloodline and forget yourself, then you have completely lost control, the flaming figure said. According to the rules of our Thunder Ancient Country, once you completely lose control and lose yourself, you will be imprisoned in the Snow Demon prison for 10,000 eras. If you still cannot regain yourself within 10,000 eras, you will be executed. I understand, I have made my preparations, mountain-sitting guest stated. He was originally a godly king, a realm much higher than primal chaos, having faced countless hardships. His spiritual will was also at the level of the second realm of godly king. Mountain-sitting guest was confident in maintaining clarity as he began his training. As for the later stages, that was uncertain. Not long ago, an ancient being of Thunder Ancient Country, Snow Demon God King, lost control. The power of Snow Demon God King was comparable to that of the 9 monarchs of Thunder Ancient Country. The reason he never became a monarch was that he couldn't fully control his own power and would occasionally lose control. This time, during his loss of control, he rampantly devoured all things, even consuming another godly king of the imperial clan, God King Laisha, along with ingesting an ultimate realm God King weapon, completely digesting that weapon. Follow me, first select the primordial bloodline inheritance, then choose the corresponding primordial bloodline. The flaming figure led mountain-sitting guest away. The city lord of Desert Wind was also paying his respects to the godly king at this moment. Ancestor, my true body has been suppressed and imprisoned by Luo He. The divine power incarnation of the city lord of Desert Wind said urgently. He mentioned that he needs at least 300 billion cosmic sand to release me. I can gather 80 billion myself, but I still need 220 billion more. You are incapable on your own and you seek to borrow cosmic sand from me. A towering giant seated there, stroking his scale armor, said dismissively, I myself am short of resources for cultivation. Ancestor, the city lord of Desert Wind said desperately, why don't you speak with Luo He yourself? The towering giant angrily said, there's nothing to discuss. Don't you know the rules of the Thunder Ancient Country? At the same level of conflict, superiors do not interfere. If you are less powerful than your opponent, then you deserve to die. Even if God Kings of the Thunder Ancient Country and Flame Wind Ancient Country fight to the death, many godly kings have died through history. Both ancestors never interfered. At the same level of conflict, superiors do not interfere. If you die, it's because you weren't strong enough. If there's bullying of the weak, both ancient countries will not tolerate it. Then what can I do? In the primal chaos realm, nobody can fight Luo He, the city lord of Desert Wind said helplessly. That's not to say there is no way, the towering giant said with a sly smile. The Snow Demon prison currently needs a guard. Just 1,000 eons there and you can earn 1,000,000 merit points. I can exchange these 1,000,000 merit points for 300 billion cosmic sand for you. A guard of the Snow Demon prison, the city lord of Desert Wind panicked. The god of fire is currently imprisoned there. The Thunder Ancient Country is very accommodating towards the god of fire, also hoping to gradually let him fully master his bloodline power. Once he can maintain his sanity forever, he will truly become a monarch. To gain 1,000,000 merit points quickly, this is the only way, the towering giant said. Don't worry, the god of fire, being imprisoned, is relatively safe. The city lord of Desert Wind grimaced. Relatively safe? Should there be the slightest problem, the true body he is responsible for guarding must be annihilated, potentially even corrupted. Let me think, I need to think more, the city lord of Desert Wind said worriedly. This task is very scarce. Once an emperor-level puppet can be dispatched there, this task won't be yours anymore. The towering giant said, as guarding the Snow Demon prison also involves many tasks. Emperor-level power puppets are most suitable, not afraid of will corruption. But they are extremely rare, and with many potentially uncontrollable powerhouses in the Thunder Ancient Country, There are not enough Emperor-level puppets available. Ancestor, I will think of another way. The city lord of Desert Wind immediately bowed and left, determined not to take the role of guard at the Snow Demon prison if there was any other choice. The second eruption of the Blood Spirit Star also lasted about 3 days. Luo Feng encountered no interruption and easily collected all the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls. The second eruption has ended. Luo Feng looked at the now tranquil Blood Spirit Star and nodded slightly. This time I have obtained a total of 72 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls. Following that, Luo Feng thought and tucked away the vast Black River world. For these 3 days, the Black River world was maintained just in case someone tried to steal the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls. 3 days and this city lord of Desert Wind can't even produce 300 billion cosmic sand? Luo Feng shook his head. After negotiating with the city lord of Desert Wind, Luo Feng had agreed to release him as long as he could provide the 300 billion cosmic sand. 300 billion cosmic sand is roughly equivalent to 1 million merit points. Cultivating a primordial bloodline physical body would cost at least a few million merit points. Asking for merely the value of 1 million merit points is not too high. First, I'll send the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls back. Luo Feng swooshed through the air. While flying, Luo Feng naturally split an avatar. An avatar carried the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls directly towards Chu capital. Another true body, however, headed straight for the border city Xiangjie City where Great Saint Yangsu was located. Flame Wind Ancient Country, Chu capital. Brother Luo He, the divine power incarnation of Emperor Chu Yu, saw Luo Feng above the Marquis mansion. Luo Feng descended nearby, smiling. The second wave of the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls has ended, and this time I got 72 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls. As he spoke, he waved his hand, and all those Blood Spirit Golden Pearls were taken out. Emperor Chu Yu watched with fiery eyes. The last time Luo Feng had brought 9 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls, which made it a total of 81 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls including this time. Marquis Chu Ying, who ranked second in the task for the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls, had only 25 pearls. Because of Brother Luo He, I am absolutely the first in the task for the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls, Emperor Chu Yu remarked sentimentally. Judging from the time, Blood Spirit Star might erupt a third wave within the task deadline, Luo Feng mentioned. The task deadline was an era, and now only half the time had passed. Upon reflection, Emperor Chu Yu said, now that I'm securely in first place for the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls task, if there is a third eruption of Blood Spirit Golden Pearls, Brother Luo He, would you consider selling them to other first-rank marquises? I believe one could sell a Blood Spirit Golden Pearl for 20 to 30 billion cosmic sand. Selling 30 to 50 pearls would amount to 100 billion cosmic sand. No need. Luo Feng shook his head. Don't lose sight of the bigger picture for a small gain. Your heavenly task is far more important. A warmth filled Emperor Chu Yu's heart. He felt that Brother Luo He had helped him greatly and he had little with which to repay the kindness. I understand, nodded Emperor Chu Yu. As a newly promoted first-rank Marquis, his resource accumulation was limited, and only by scoring high enough in this heavenly task could he attain truly precious resources. When the time comes, I will select some suitable precious resources to give to Brother Luo He. Emperor Chu Yu silently made a decision. To share a portion, in Emperor Chu Yu's view, was only right. Without Brother Luo He, his ranking would probably drop a lot, significantly reducing the resources he could get. Moreover, Emperor Chu Yu understood Luo Feng's nature. He was not an ungrateful person. Furthermore, even the Flame Wind Pavilion's intelligence report said, it wouldn't be long before Luo He would become a godly king. Offering resources, naturally, the sooner the better. I have an avatar residing in the cave mansion, Luo Feng said. If there is any trouble, feel free to find me. Will do, Emperor Chu Yu responded, confirming the information was correct. Brother Luo He indeed had many avatars. After delivering the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls, Luo Feng left shortly after. Right now, during the effects of the primordial crystal spirit fruit, Luo Feng had no interest in pleasure and was focused solely on cultivation. Before I concentrate on cultivation, first, I must provide a certain punishment to Yang Su. Luo Feng's true body hurried on his way, heading straight for Xiangjie City. Xiangjie City was also one of the many cities along the long borderline between the two great ancient countries. Normal border cities were usually garrisoned by cultivators from the primal chaos realm, but Xiangjie City was garrisoned by a transcendent of primal chaos realm, which showed how special this place was. It should be noted that transcendents of the primal chaos realm in the entire flame-wind ancient country were already rare. Even fewer were those willing to garrison cities, which were only about a dozen, and each of them garrisoned critical locations. In Xiangjie City, naturally, the most esteemed position belonged to the Guardian General Yang Su. This Two Worlds Palace has an illustrious reputation, and among the many powers hidden in darkness in the land of origin, Two Worlds Palace ranks as one of the top. It's rumored that its official members are at least of the second realm of Godly King. Yang Su grimaced, but I never imagined they could act so shamelessly. What's this? I only got 8 blood spirit golden pearls. It didn't reach the agreed 10 pearls. All the promised benefits, gone? Yang Su was seething with rage inside. This time, he dealt with a mysterious existence from the Two Worlds Palace. In his caution, he promised that he could get at least 10 blood spirit golden pearls. In his view, with his methods, to obtain 10 blood spirit golden pearls across 2 or 3 eruptive waves was a breeze, and this was a cautious estimate he gave. He obtained 8 pearls on the first eruption, but starting from the second, Luo Feng monopolized them, ultimately failing to reach a total of 10 pearls. I fought for my life and managed to get 8 blood spirit golden pearls. I even confronted Luo He. I've made an enemy out of Luo Feng, and now I get nothing for it. Yang Su had a taste of how an official member of the Two Worlds Palace conducted business. There was nothing he could do about it either. On one hand, he had no clue about the other party's identity, and with such a vast disparity in strength, he had no recourse. On the other hand, he did not achieve 10 pearls. The other party had not broken their promise. No wonder these hidden powers keep to the darkness. They talk of fairness, but each one is darker than the last. Yang Su thought to himself, next time, I must secure the benefits before doing the job. This time, he had truly suffered a great loss. Suddenly, Yang Su, within the garrison mansion, employed his control over the entire Xiangjie city's formation, sensing a massive operation of laws descending. Not good. Yang Su looked up, and immediately saw the sky outside darken. Whoosh! Yang Su instantly appeared above the garrison mansion, only to see a dark world with a scope of 1 trillion kilometers completely sealing off the entire Xiangjie city. The diameter of Xiangjie city was only about 300 billion kilometers. Luo Feng's Black River world spanned 1 trillion kilometers, completely sufficient to encompass the city, wrapping it totally within. It's Luo his Black River world. Yang Su's heart turned cold. The trouble had arrived. This Luo He really showed no mercy. Luo He, Yang Su immediately spoke up, his voice resonating powerfully across the skies of Xiangjie city. In the high skies of Xiangjie city, a towering figure appeared, and it was the form of Luo Feng. Brother Luo He, I admit that I have offended you in the past, and I am willing to apologize. Is there any way to dissolve the enmity between us? Yang Su's voice transmission said. Luo Feng looked at him and said, if you are willing to apologize, I am not so petty. Our grudge can naturally be erased. Please name your price, Brother Luo He, Yang Su said. Having lost, he had to accept defeat. I have heard that the great Saint Yang Su possesses a pair of void divine cones. Compensate me with that pair, and this matter will be settled. Luo Feng's voice rose in Yang Su's ears, and for a moment, Yang Su's eyes reddened. A pair of void divine cones? These were treasures he had painstakingly accumulated, exchanging a full 800,000 merit points for this pair of godly king weapons, which he cherished even more than his own life. When his complete avatar was out on business, it only carried primal chaos realm weapons. If it died, so be it. He always kept this pair of godly king weapons in the safest place. Brother Luo He, you are asking for a pair of godly king weapons just like that. Isn't that a bit too much? Yang Su was furiously indignant. His long years of accumulation had been mostly invested in his own cultivation, and the most precious of all was this pair of godly king weapons. He would rather let Luo Feng kill his avatar 10 times, 100 times, than lose the godly king weapons. To offer an apology, one must be sincere. Luo Feng looked at him. A mere pair of first-realm godly king weapons, and you're unwilling to part with them? And you call this an apology? I admit I have offended Brother Luo He before, Yang Su said. I guess Brother Luo He has also surmised that there are reasons for me targeting you. I am willing to explain the reason to Brother Luo He. Brother Luo He, could you perhaps lower the compensation? To say or not to say, that is up to you. Luo Feng shook his head. What could make a transcendent of the primal chaos realm deliberately target him, and bear a grudge against him? Ever since he arrived in the land of origin, he had kept a low profile and tried not to cause trouble. There were only a handful of conflicts with him. With a little deduction, Luo Feng guessed, it must be that person from the Two Realms Palace. I didn't mean to offend Brother Luo He, it was that person from the Two Realms Palace, Yang Su's voice transmission said. There is a clear creditor for a grievance, and I am merely acting on orders, just a claw of that entity. I guessed it was the Two Realms Palace, but I am equally unable to deal with the other party. Luo Feng looked at Yang Su. What I can do is to cut off its claw first. Yang Su was frantic. To me, losing a few avatars is not a big deal. But if you act, it would be an attack on the frontier cities and ruin the military discipline of the Flame-Wind ancient country. Luo Feng shook his head. I guess that pair of godly king weapons is on you right this moment. Yang Su looked at Luo Feng. Oh? Are you so certain? Yang Su, you have two complete avatars, one adventuring outside, which would not carry important treasures. The other one, staying in Xiangjie City, is the one carrying the priceless treasures, Luo Feng said. Godly king weapons are naturally carried with oneself for contemplation. Most importantly, if the avatar didn't carry treasures, you wouldn't care about its death, nor would you be so humble and forbearing. Luo Feng looked at him. Yang Su was annoyed. He practiced the clone technique, dispersing his avatars across different places in the land of origin. If it weren't for the treasures he carried with him, why would he bear it? Luo He. Yang Su sneered, you should be able to check the uniqueness of Xiangjie City. To have a transcendent of the primal chaos realm as its guardian general, Xiangjie City was indeed very special. Before Luo Feng made his move, he naturally gathered information in advance. Xiangjie City guards the entrance to a world known as Xiangjie. Yang Su sneered, within Xiangjie, there are creatures with the primordial bloodline cultivated by ancestor Yang Feng themselves. If you attack Xiangjie City and cause any flaws to appear at the guarded entrance, can you afford the consequences? Attacking border cities is a serious crime. If an accident occurs in the guarded world, the crime is compounded, towering into a grave offense, Yang Su said. I, Yang Su, am responsible for guarding Xiangjie City and have always been diligent in preventing any accidents. If you attack, I must defend to my utmost, and it's very possible that the entrance will sustain cracks. I've already warned you about the risks. If you knowingly commit this offense, nobody can save you. Yang Su looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng was listening. Yang Su's tone softened. I possess a godly king weapon and operate powerful formations. It won't be easy for you to breach the city defenses. I advise you, Brother Luo He, to leave. I am willing to compensate 500 billion cosmic sand to resolve our conflict. 500 billion cosmic sand isn't even enough to buy a single first realm of godly king weapon, and you call that compensation? Forget it. Luo Feng shook his head. Under the vast cloak of the dark world, Luo Feng's gaze turned frosty. Yang Su, sensing trouble, immediately exerted all his effort to control the city's formation, wanting to repel the impending attack. Boom 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 tilde 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 tilde. Suddenly, an enormous and endless black river materialized within Xiangjie City, surging tumultuously. In the blink of an eye, it had flooded the entire city, effortlessly seeping through many key formation junctures, effortlessly breaking through them. When did you enter the city? Yang Su couldn't believe that the endless black river had already infiltrated the city, disrupting the formation's hubs from the inside. Since Luo Feng had decided to act, he naturally took advantage of his formless and intangible abilities earlier on, turning 30 billion black rivers into intangible currents that flew into the city and mingled with the atmospheric currents. Without the formation, what can you do? Luo Feng looked down on him. The endless Black River spread out, these same rivers also shielding the countless cultivators within Xiangjie City, preventing them from being affected. What's going on? This black water flow, it seems to be harmless. The numerous cultivators in Xiangjie City watched as the gentle black currents encircled them, spreading everywhere gently. They could even feel a strong sense of safety. Attacking the city, destroying the formation, causing the entrance to Xiangjie to be wide open. This towering crime, Flame Wind Ancient Country will never spare you. Yang Su's face contorted ferociously. Knowing he couldn't escape as the Black River world had sealed the inside and outside, he saw his pair of godly king weapons about to be seized, raging with reluctance. Luo He, I will surely report this to the emperor. Let the emperor judge your crime. Luo Feng understood that the emperor Yang Su referred to reporting to was the contemporary Emperor Chu. In this era, it was Emperor Chu who ruled and managed the Flame Wind Ancient Country. Judge crimes? Luo Feng looked at him and let out a cold laugh. Daring to take action, he naturally checked everything beforehand. Attacking Xiangjie City was indeed a grave offense, but according to the laws of the Flame Wind Ancient Country, he could still endure the consequences. Luo Feng felt it was worth it to pay some price to take the pair of godly king weapons from Yang Su. This video will end here.